Hello everyone, welcome to A Fistful of Dice. I'm Matt, and I'm out here in the forest, and I've been thinking a lot lately about social rules. Skills that you use in a game to influence social situations. So, using Pathfinder as an example, bluff, diplomacy, and intimidate. And you can sort of, use any sort of permeation of those things for any game that you're talking about. But how do you use these three skills in conjunction with role play without negating the effects of the other? So an example would be, how do you... Let's say a player wants to intimidate, and you ask them to roleplay it out. And they do like an awesome job. They have the right inflection, the right tone. They mime, grabbing the guy and, picking him up by the scruff of his neck. They are actually intimidating. And then you ask them to roll their intimidate, and they roll really low. Now, how do you handle that? Sure, you can give them a circumstance bonus of +2 or +4, depending on how well they roleplay it. But having them roll after they've just had this awesome encounter, this awesome interaction with this NPC or another player, how do you have them roll to prove that, yeah, you were intimidating? Or vice versa, they roll really high on their intimidate, and you ask them to role play it out, and they're not intimidating at all. You have to find some sort of compromise where you're not making their role play worthless, but you're also recognizing the fact that they have put points into intimidate, or diplomacy, or bluff for their character. Like, I as a GM cannot ignore a character's build in favor of roleplay, but I also am huge on roleplay. I'm not going to just have them roll their intimidate and assume they were intimidating. And I'm saying intimidate a lot because that's just what I'm using as an example, but you can do this with diplomacy, intimidate, or bluff. Now, the skills intimidate, bluff, and diplomacy actually give you mechanical benefits. Diplomacy and intimidate can both allow you to make somebody compliant in a conversation. Intimidate especially allows you to basically almost take control of a conversation or a situation, depending on how well you roll it. Basically, they allow you to take the upper hand in any sort of social interaction. So, here's my idea, or just something I've been thinking about. Yes, intimidate, bluff, diplomacy, they give you mechanical benefits. Actual physical benefits within the game. Hard number benefits. But they don't take the place of roleplay. So, what if you roleplay out the situation, you roleplay it out really well, the GM decides, hey, that was roleplayed really well, you appealed to this NPC or this character's, logic and reasoning and motivations. You have clearly gained the upper hand in this conversation, or at least progressed the conversation forward. There's no reason why intimidate, bluff, and diplomacy cannot be effective without rolling. Because rolling gives you the mechanical benefit, and the RP, well, that gives you the roleplay benefit. That gives you the upper hand in the conversation, whether or not this PC or NPC is compliant they're not shaking in fear at your intimidate, but they know that you mean business. And they know, okay, this guy is serious, I'm not going to mess with him. These skills are very broad. They do lots of different things. A lot of people think that, oh, I've intimidated this person, that the person is pissing their pants in fear. That's not what it is at all. I mean, yeah, if you roll a natural 20 and role play it out like a boss and you're intimidating a little goblin all on its own, yeah, the goblin is going to be terrified. But if you're talking to somebody who's at your level and you intimidate them, you're getting respect from them. You're trying to get a step above them. And it's not necessarily for the role to decide if that happens. So this is just something I've been thinking about, and I can't really think of any other skills where this is the case. It's not like disable device or perception require roleplay, you know what I mean? I mean, these social skills are inherently tied to how you portray your character and how you handle situations as a role player. There's no other skills like that. So it's just sort of this interesting iffiness that goes along with these skills. So how do you handle these social skills? Intimidate, bluff, diplomacy, any sort of permeation of that, persuade, what have you. Do you have your players roll these social roles in conjunction with RP? Do you ever have your players just roll them without any RP? Or do you sort of rely solely on RP and ignore the character's build, ignore the points that they put into these skills? Or, like me, do you fall somewhere in the middle where it really depends on the situation? Anyway, get back to me, guys, because I'm really interested to hear your thoughts on this. It's something I've been sort of thinking about a lot lately, so. Social roles. How do you deal with them?